all our viewers today, we are here to discuss about the issues of religion and ethnicity in Nigeria. I have with me all the way from Benin City, Mr. Tony Abolo. Hello, sir. You can hear me clearly.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good.
Thank you for joining us on the program today, sir. Before we continue the program today, I would like you to introduce yourself briefly to the audience, sir.
Okay, my name's Tony Abolo, and in practice, I'm a media consultant, and by training, I've gone through um, courses of studies in philosophy, in political science, public administration, then sociology. And here we are. We've been in and out of paid service, but we're on our own and we're quite happy. And so we'd like to contribute in any way we can towards public discourse.
Thank you, sir. I know that you are a veteran broadcaster in Nigeria. So, in what channel in Nigeria have you been working?
Oh, we worked in the very first broadcast station in Nigeria, um, which is called Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation. That took over from the BBC that set up the old Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation. And I also worked in the NTA. Then later on, I went into, after having a stint at the British Broadcasting Corporation, I felt, well, let me change course. And then I came into television, as I just said. But then I also wanted to have an experience of private broadcasting. And so at a point, I was the general manager of the independent television broadcasting station in Benin City. And we've been trying to set up one or two things here and there. And we've done some consultancy work in terms of broadcasting in the Delta area, in Quest Radio and TV, in Rise FM, also in the Delta. So Delta Broadcasting Service. So we've been up and down in terms of broadcasting.
You have been doing this for how many years, sir?
Oh dear, can we count? 79 to now. How long is that?
Wow, that's been a while, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. So broadcasting is our life. So we're at the back end, resting.
How can we resolve the issue of religion and ethnicity in Nigeria?
I don't know where to start from when there are two hot button issues when it comes to this society. But let's look first at the ethnicity issue. Ethnicity shouldn't be a problem, should never ever be a problem. Reason is that I recall a lecture delivered many years ago at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka by the Right Honorable Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it had to do with ethnicity. I've also listened to a talk by the first Director General of the Nigerian Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Kuru, Jos, Professor Tiayo. And the conclusion is that ethnicity is not an issue. Wherever we are, we have to come from one language group. Let's put it that way. We have to come from a language group. So we have to have an ethnic background. But then the issue is, how do you harmonize ethnic groups that were brought together by the British into one harmonious whole that you can talk about as a nation? Years ago, Obafemi Awolowo, in frustration, I must confess, or perhaps in prognosis of the crisis we're in way back in the 60s, talked about Nigeria being a geographical expression. So if Nigeria is just a geographical expression, even in 2021, so 60 years down the line, we're still a geographical expression. We haven't moved into a nation. And a gentleman who I cherish so much is the only African with one name called Chinwe Izu. Actually, He is into literature, but strangely, he writes a lot of social science topics. He talks about one myth we have in Nigeria, that we are in the illusion of nation building. And so we think we're building a nation, but we've never set up on it in a very direct way. You know, there is a process of nation building. It comes with enlightenment, intellectualism, discussions, debates, arguments, symposia, all sorts of things that happen within a society. All that through brainstorming, you come to a consensus of, oh, this is what a nation should be. This is the way we should go. This is what the constitution should be. And these are the kind of leadership qualities we expect. And these are the people we want in governance. But we've never done this for 60 years. And therefore, my argument is that because we failed to do what we should do in an intellectual manner, 60 years down the line, we're still battling with ethnicity. Everybody remembers his ethnic group. And that's why when they go into governance, they tend to favor, in terms of allocation of resources, allocation of positions, allocation of certain privileges to people of their ethnic backgrounds. And that is what is we're battling with now in Nigeria. And it has never been this bad until Buhari went into presidency. By the constitution of Nigeria, there ought to be a federal character principle, which is that all of us, you must gather. It is expressly stated in the constitution that in order to make a nation, we should therefore pick everybody. It's not just about the Federal Executive Council, but in terms of position in the MDAs, the ministries and departments and agencies, that what we call the MDAs, they ought to come from everywhere in the country. In terms of even placing people in the armed forces, they ought to come from everywhere. But the man has an agenda. He's focusing heavily on the Muslims, heavily focusing on the Fulanis, because there is an agenda. And that's why ethnicity has become a core issue here.
So the agitations going on in Nigeria, especially the secessionists, recently agitating for division or secession in the country. The people are complaining that power is not equally distributed among citizens in Nigeria. That is the number one issue that they are complaining about. So they said that like the major positions in Nigeria are dominated by the Fulani Northerners. So equal distribution of power at least will give us a kind of equity. People are all clamoring for equity in Nigeria. So how can we deal with this issue of tribalism that is exacerbating this crisis of secession in Nigeria?
Well, maybe like I raised a short while ago. And you are right in trying to say that the reason for secessionist tendencies, or what we call the centrifugal forces that are propelling people to pull into their own, is because of this great nepotism that we found in the presidency. And people like Sunday Adeyemo, who is also nicknamed Igboho, who comes from the Yoruba area, agitating for the Yoruba nation, also supported by Professor Aditoye, who even was in the United Nations to demonstrate a day or two ago. It's also an indication that even the Yorubas are feeling the awkwardness of this arrangement. Then there is the underlying issue about the Igbos, which we've discussed extensively. And they are also saying they want to go. Then also comes the agitation of the middle belters. So it's not just a question of looking at east, looking at the west. Then there is the middle belt who are equally dissatisfied. Unfortunately, those in Kaduna, Jos, and Adamawa, Yobe, Borno, Maiduguri, they are not quite as agitating about all this, but they have their own underlying dissatisfaction. Then, of course, not to forget the old subsisting Niger Delta crisis. So one believes that if indeed we must address it, you need a father figure. We can borrow a template from Rwanda. Rwanda in, I think it was 2004, came into this genocide war between the Tutsis and the Hutus. And after that, Paul Kagame, who's now their president, who worked in the Secret Service, led, of course, the rebellion army that came to overthrow and take over power in Rwanda. And when they came, after seeing the massacre of 800,000 souls, it was the decision by the country that never again, never again. And so they now said the constitution there in that country does not mention ethnic group. And it's a shame that Nigeria, in fact, I was at the University of Benin Teaching Hospital just to solve a problem with my tooth. And I had to fill in a form. They had to ask me, father, mother, religion, then my tribe. I said, what the heck? In 2021, my tribe? What has my tribe got to do with my tooth? Can you see how ridiculous Nigeria is? So when you're filling forms, either to get a federal service job, they have to ask you ethnic nation. And those are the kind of things. And we've taken that from the divide and rule tactics of the British. They carried that because I had some conversation with friends from South Africa who also, during the apartheid days, used it to begin to subdivide the people. And so this group will hate this group will be suspicious of the other group, and it persists. And now we've carried it further. And by doing what we're doing, it was to remove the fears we have of dominance of any ethnic group. That's why they said no one ethnic group should dominate any part of the civil service. No one ethnic group should dominate the public sector. No one person or individual group should dominate even the economic sector. But can you see, today you talk about Dangote. Dangote is from where? Kano. Dangote is a Muslim. Dangote is a northerner. He and his brother Saad, they are the richest people in Nigeria because of patronage. Does it mean all of us don't have brains? We don't have any energy. We can't survive. We can't do things. All people doing all this IT, artificial intelligence, and ICT in Nigeria. Where are they? Where are we getting them from other parts of the country? The intelligent ones are elsewhere, locked out. And that's what ethnicity is doing to us. Now, then you see there's a perpetuation because it serves the politicians to play the ethnic card. You go home, you preach your people, you beg them. Oh, they're cheating us. Please send me to the house. Send me to the federal house. You know, and out of sentiment, people play into it. And so you want to see that we don't play that ethnic card game. But the politicians are using it for their own end. And when they have gained the political power, gone into the House of Legislation, what happens? What happens? They never remember their people. And that's why I want to recall the theory that Professor Ali Mazrui gave. And I thought it should be an opportunity to share it with the world. Now late, a political scientist from Kenya, he gave he wrote a book called Cultural Engineering in East Africa. And he had a template containing 4 principles. 1, how to indigenize what was foreign. How to idealize what was indigenous. 3, how to nationalize what was sectional or ethnic. And lastly, how to emphasize what was African. And of course, if only we go by these kind of canons of ethnic integration, we will definitely have a better country. And the American model remains something we study in sociology, which is the American melting pot theory. Wherever you come from Hungary, come from Australia, come from Nigeria, you are an American, a Nigerian American, a Hungarian American, you are Australian American. That's a hyphenation to show that you've come from somewhere, but we met everybody into one cooking pot, to use the African, even use the language, instead of talking about melting pot, African cooking pot. Can we have a cooking pot in which everybody, all the ingredients of ethnic groups go into it? Tomato, onions, atarodo, all of it goes into a sweet pot. That's what a nation should be. But can't you see the benefit of America integrating? And that is part of the greatness of America. But we have that same advantage in Nigeria. Every ethnic group in this country has something to give.
America has their own problem in terms of race and racism.
Agree. Yes. But then I'm not removing my eyes. But at least, who is the Lloyd? Who is the American Defense Secretary? Is he not black? Is there no more affinity towards, especially with the Democrats, moving towards that integration of the black and trying to do something about ethnic violence and endemic ethnic racism? That is how you have an affirmative action by a leadership. At least the president is doing that, but Biden is doing that. But here in Nigeria, no leadership is doing that. Rather, we like to think of atomization, little groups, and little groups are not doing anything. And that's why, like you talk about journalists writing a book, I'm doing a book on media and national development. And one of the chapters I've devoted to it, which of course I've also borrowed an idea from the man I quoted, Professor Ali Mazrui, who, by the way, I think taught in Yale University before he passed on. I call the chapter Ethnic Efficiency. Can we, for heaven's sake, remember that we are ethnically divided? Because we're online, and America is a tribe. Let's face it. Britain is a tribe. France is a tribe. So let's not overplay this thing. But even then, there's the United Nations in which everybody comes together. So what I am now theorizing by my theory of ethnic efficiency is that if you're Robo, you are Bini, you are Etako, don't do for anybody, do for your people. And what I mean do for your people, how many are you? People don't even know their numbers. How many Benis are there in the world? How many Urobos are there in the world? How many Shekris are there in the world? Count. What are their needs? Who are those going to school? What is their special talent? You must have a countdown of everybody. Then how do we raise everybody? And because this is exactly what we did in 1960 in Nigeria, what we call competitive communalism in development. And what that means is how Nigeria rose. Abolo did what he did in the West. The first television in Africa. He did the Cocoa House. He did Ife University. That propelled the East. They created their palm oil board. They created Nsoka University. That propelled the North to create Akbaru Bello, to create the NDDC. There was, sorry, not exactly NDDC, but it's something of the Northern Nigeria Development Corporation. Then they had the radio television Kaduna. Then you had the WNTV, WNBS in Ibadan, the broadcast station. Then you had ENTV, and this thing. Then that's what propelled Nigeria. So ethnicity has its own beauty in which we compete. And that's why I'm talking about ethnic efficiency. And is the collation of all the different energies perfecting themselves and rising to the occasion of the challenges of development. That's what eventually makes a great nation. But today, all the ethnic groups are poor, wretched, unorganized, don't even know what to do with themselves. And really, I do mean it. You have traditional ruler. What do they do for their people? Traditional ruler. In 2021, what do they do? Do they provide money? Do they provide job? Do they provide ideas? Nothing. So what is this ethnicity? So ethnicity is not benefiting us. So if I may leave that, because that's a troublesome area. But I'm just hoping that maybe we need, like we say in the social sciences, you create a critical mass of people who are detribalized. And they are there. It is not that everybody's tribalistic, everybody's ethnically inclined. I've been in Benin since 1956. That's how long. And look at it. It's that bad that even if I said I wanted to, I was here before Lucky Igbenejon was born. Lucky is a governor. Can I dare say I want to be a councillor in Benin City? Nobody will allow me. That's when they will tell me I come from the Delta. And if I go to Delta, they will say they don't know me. It's here they know me. All my friends are here. I know, apart from Arkansas, although I didn't deal with him.
So you mean that?
Omo was both a father and a friend. He even wanted me to be his PRO in that palace. The current Oba, Ogirigan II, I tell you frankly, he was my client, he was my friend. I was visiting him, even because before he was formally installed as the Daike, not to talk of now. So I've known everybody, I've known the princes, even the Arkansas, their workers, I know them all. And I have friends all around here. So what are you telling me? But now because of ethnicity, I can't, as it were, be integrated. Although people have to have other principles about integration, but we're not allowing it to happen. We're not allowing it to happen. But some of the Igbos have been able to integrate, especially in the Yoruba land. Some of them are councillors. Some of them are members of the House. So therefore, the Yorubas are repeating what happened in Nigeria of the 1960s, when an Igbo man was even a chairman of a council in Enugu, way back in the 60s. And Azikiwe won parliamentary seat in the West. So we are going back. But at least the Yorubas have started that kind of integration. And we want to see that happen in the North. When that begins to happen, then we'll now begin to have a good country. And that's why one of my pet theories is talking about social mobility. You should be able to go anywhere where your talent takes you and where you have the skills to plant, you go and do it. If I have skills needed in Meduguri, I should go there. If somebody is in Yobe and has something to offer Oshun, he should go there. If somebody finishes in Sokoto and has something to do in Bayelsa, he should go there. But what happens in Nigeria? You are born into a state, you grow up in a state, you go to school in a state. When you graduate, you return to your state. Where are the jobs? No jobs. Can you see one of the reasons for unemployment? So we're not helping ourselves. We're not helping ourselves. It's tragic.
Yeah.
Now, to move to the other side, which is religion. Religion has to do with belief system. And sadly, all the religions that are where you have millions of adherents have come from outside. Oh, you call yourself Christians? Where did it start? Here? No, it came implanted. Muslim, where did it begin? In Arab land. Which other one are we going to talk about? The only one we say we have, which is indigenous African belief system, or what my friend who came from Jamaica puts it in a very sweet way, describes it. She came here, I told you on the phone a few days back, that she came here in August to be initiated into a local cult. She calls it African spirituality. Now, many of us have left our original, authentic Africanness. And that's why when I teach even media, international communication, I emphasize what is it to be an African. Many of us don't even know what it is to be an African. We don't even know how to be black. We don't even know how to be Nigerian. We keep thinking we are European, and we are not, no matter what. That's why these ethnicity and cultural things are so crucial to my mind, because we are just not getting it right. Our religion has taken us completely out of our elements. We don't even know what to believe. Everything they came to teach us, we were pagans. We didn't believe in God. Is that right? That's not true. That is not true. The African believed in God. But you came and said, oh, the only way you can go to heaven is to believe in Christ. So that makes you a Christian. Fine. Now you're telling me those who never came to be Christian, they won't get there. So if you're a Muslim, for example, and you are not a Christian, you won't get there. Where are you going to be? And yet Christians believe that Christ came for, they say, at least the statement is for everybody. So if it's for everybody, came for Muslims, came for African traditional religionists, came for atheists, came for even those who believe in nothing, if at all there's such a thing. So what are we talking about? So we're using religion into a mix, and it's now creating a problem. There was a joke I was saying, a joke in the papers, online, which said that Nigerians start their meeting with prayer, then tell lies for the rest of the meeting, then conclude the meeting with prayers. That is the Nigerian. Now you are laughing. That's what we do with religion. Then I now put something to you. Fashola, a former governor of Lagos State, who is the Minister for Works, said he delivered a Founders Day lecture in Unibank, which is his alma mater. He said he's been around the world. He's been to Arab countries. He goes to everywhere. Nobody starts meeting with prayers. They just get on with the business of the day. But in Nigeria, every street has 24, maybe 80 churches down the road. On Sunday, everybody is singing and praising and shouting and doing all that. Are you with me? Now, but what happens? Now, all that prayer, they only go in, swing their hands up in the air, praise God, fine. It's all about miracles. As soon as the miracles came, that's one of the things that Pentecostalism has come to do to us. When people are looking for quick fix, instead of doing hard work, you can imagine somebody on a Monday morning, instead of going to work or looking for work, is going into a church for deliverance. What deliverance? You don't have degree, you don't have a certificate, you don't have
Mm,
money. Then
mm.
what do you want? What do you want? So
Yes.
religion has become an albatross, and we should be able to clear our eyes and know what religion does. Religion is Christ came to make each and every one of us a better individual. Just be a better human being. Because you have to first be a better human being before you go to become a saint. But in Nigeria, they think here they are going to church every day. As soon as they even steal money, they want to do offering in the church. It's a bit of
Mm.
nonsense. And
And
look
the,
at what is happening. Look at
and the
even now.
religion is helping some people in the country. You can see
It
how
is based. It is
religion has
based.
enriched them. Private
Yes,
jets everywhere in
I agree.
Nigeria among
I
pastors.
agree.
So
I
people are
agree.
taking advantage of this religion
Or
that was
people's
introduced
sentiment
to.
about religion. I agree. I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
Yes, they're taking advantage of people's
Mm,
simple belief about,
mm,
oh, the life hereafter. I don't want to quote a book, a terrible book I read many years ago by D.H. Lawrence, looking at the book of Apocalypse and the Bible. The thing is this, like I said, let's live a good life here. Our religion was supposed to make us perfect human beings, loving one another, being nice and being kind. I look at what religion has done in the Western world. That was the beginning of the Western democracy. It is rooted in Christian faith. Okay, where has our religion been able to be allowed to flower? In the old Africa, could you steal from your neighbor? People had doors open throughout the night. People lived a good life. We could go to Lagos in the night. We could go to Abuja early in the morning. But now, everybody's scared, stiff to move anywhere. So, what is all this religion? What are we doing with it? Okay,
yes.
here it is. You go to the north. There, they pray 5 times a day, but they are murdering all of us. What does that mean? Is that religion? So, religion not tell them that you cannot take another person's life, or is it written in the book that you must kill the other person in order to go to heaven? Because they indoctrinate their people. Or if you murder in the name of God, when you die, you collect virgins up there. So in the excitement of sex, you want to commit murder so that you can now go and have 42 or 92 virgins up there.
Mm,
I mean, so it's a bit of crazy thing. And okay, look at this VAT issue. You collect VAT from us. Okay, in the south, you go to Lagos, you go to Port Harcourt. They have where they have brothels where prostitutes stay. Fine, you tax them. Then you go to where they are drinking beer. You tax the
mm.
breweries. You tax them. When you've collected the money, what happens? The North says they want to share the money. Yet you say this is a haram. It's forbidden. Why should you chop the money? Why can't you be a good religionist? Why can't you believe in what you believe in? So if you say, I mean, like we say even in African proverb, they chop what they forbid. So if you say they forbid this thing, not chop the money, I don't get it. So can we begin to look at religion as something that is salvific, something that reproduces good people, and it ought to begin good people. After all, what did they say? Islam is what? A religion of peace. That's the meaning of Islam. Islam is peace. Are we seeing peace? Remember that even in Nigeria, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Reverend Dr. Bishop Matthew Kuka, wrote an excellent book, a good book anybody should read, Religion, Power, and Politics in the North. A terrific book published many years ago. If you read it, you begin to understand the origin of hate. In fact, I wanted to derive from that book into some other research work I've been doing to look at even the history where this hate has started in this country. And lo and behold,
Mm.
the Northerners use religion to acquire political power, not necessarily for religion's sake, but religion for political power. And that's why those who are Christians don't rise in the north. Those who have a different faith don't get appointed. Look at what happened in Kaduna State. Out of their own quirk ways, they decided to have two Muslims. The deputy governor is a Muslim. The governor himself, Erufai, is a Muslim. That never happens. It has always been a balance. And look at Kaduna in turbulence. Nobody to bring peace to the place. And yet you say Islam is peace. Islam, you pray 5 times a day, and the people don't have peace, and there's no peace in your heart. There's no peace in the nation. My friend, we must re-examine what is religion doing us any good. We have to re-examine what it ought to be, and then go back. Sometimes a few things that about the integral nature of the African love your neighbor as yourself is basic in African religion. You don't take your neighbor's wife. You don't take your neighbor's property. All these things are integrated. That's the reason why in those days If anything happened, you go and swear. And the
mm,
swearing may not do anything, but it provided fear in everybody. Whether it was a real thing, it brought cataclysm, it brought death. That's a different subject matter. We have to look at the other aspect of ontology and metaphysics in order to understand how these things work. But maybe not in the course of this interview. But in any case, when you ask somebody to swear that in few days' time you did this, something happens. After all, in those days, if a woman was not faithful to the husband, they
mm,
go and swear at the family shrine.
mm,
When that happens, the woman begins to relook
mm,
at either the children begin to suffer ill health or
mm,
something, and you begin to be, so that kept you in check. So there were things that kept people in check.
mm.
There, and people are even saying that even those who go to Abuja or become governors or become this, instead of swearing with the Bible and Quran, for heaven's sake, bring Ayelala, bring
Mm.
that juju, let them
That's what we
swear
said.
or
We discussed about this topic before on this program. I brought one Yoruba guy to the program
okay.
where he was discussing about in the ancient times how they were using this juju to regulate crime in the
No,
society.
don't use the no. You are using the Yubo word. Don't call it juju. Did the African call it juju? You are using a European language. But
Yeah,
anyway, go on.
yes, the
Eh?
Europeans call it juju. They said the
Um,
juju, the origin of this juju is from Africa, not the Europeans. So when they came, they heard this word from the Africans and they started using it. And they use
what,
it a lot
which
in their
language
books.
was juju? Which language was juju? Which language? If
Because
they dare to say it.
I did a research about this because even in my book I mentioned this. So
Okay,
it's
fine.
an African language. The word juju came from Africa, West Africa, according to
Okay,
my
okay,
research. Yes,
okay.
yeah.
Let's accept your. Let's accept. Yeah. Let's accept you. Let's accept your views and research. So, but in any case, we need to go back and begin to look at. We're not saying, because there's also cultural adaptation. We're not saying even if you go to original African religion, it's hook, line, and sinker. No, there are things that are good and there are things that are bad. But we must look at what was good. That's like I quoted Ali Mazrui. How do you indigenize what was foreign? How do you idealize what was indigenous? So we must idealize those things that were indigenous to us. We should idealize them and keep them as permanent value system. The African had integrity. Look at in those days in the north. If a northerner told you, once he used the name of Allah and he gave you money, he didn't need to write a receipt. In the old Africa, nobody wrote receipts.
In the receipts, yes,
Verbal agreement, and it
agreements.
was your word was your bond. And when a
Mm,
northerner says God will provide, finish, and he believed that he is doing it in the name of God, finish. But
mm,
today, whom can you trust? You can't trust a pastor. You can't trust an imam. You can't trust who?
mm.
I mean, things are that bad.
Because this religion is not part of our culture. So if we go back to the time, the mechanical era or
And
pre-colonial
therefore,
era, oh, we are currently discussing about the issues of religion and ethnicity in Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Bolo. Thank you. So go ahead, like what we were saying earlier, that religion is like the religion that the Europeans introduced to Nigeria has become what to us?
yes,
Is
it
it
has
a
become the
blessing or?
challenge.
uh Go ahead.
No, we have not indigenized it, because remember that religion is like culture. And
Mm,
remember that, like in sociology, we look at culture contact. The religion of abroad and the religion at home
mm,
have to merge, and it becomes integral and must be internalized. And if it is not internalized, you can't practice it. It doesn't become your natural reflexes and your belief system. And we need to do that. Otherwise, the religion they have now introduced to us is becoming like an albatross. So even for the North, are they Arabs or are they Nigerians? For us in the South, are we Christians or are we Jews or are we Europeans? Who are we? So the two elephants in the room that are bothering us is religion and ethnicity,
mm.
and we must confront them frontally so as to make a nation. Otherwise, this country cannot have a stand, because those are the two things preventing us from nation building. Thank you.
So right now, what do you think would be the solution to this problem affecting the country, the issues of religion and ethnicity in the country? So is there any way we can
It
regulate our mindsets about religion and ethnicity, tribalism, in other words, we call it tribalism in the country. How can
Okay.
we,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mm,
Just maybe my simple
mm,
solutions.
mm,
I call them simple solutions. First, education has to be better than what it is. What is the ideology in our education? What are we driving? What are we making people to believe in? Then you have to improve the economy, because a lot of people running into religion are running into it as a facade to cover their face in hope that they're looking for miracle, whereas they ought to work harder. Therefore, religion ought to create strength of capacity for technological and scientific breakthroughs. Until then, people will keep running into religion, and you don't necessarily need it, because whatever it is that you need, God has made it possible. God has created it, but you must open your eyes. And therefore, education ought to have a beneficial effect, because education has benefited the Western world, and so has it benefited the Eastern world, and we ought to do the same here. And then we need to have a group that is more dispassionate, that can look at these things as the troubled spots of Nigeria and come together and begin to preach about a new mindset and a new indigenous belief system. And we don't have them. Does it come from the universities? Does it come from the people? I don't know where it's going to come from. But some group will be talking about it. Because what you have for now is bureaucracy. There's what they call interreligious council. When they want to have any issue, they will call the Sultan of Sokoto, they will call the Cardinal of the Catholic Archbishop, Cardinal Archbishop of the Catholic Church. Then they will call somebody else from one of these faiths to come together. That's not what you need. You don't need a bureaucracy. What you need is a meaningful dialogue, communication, understanding
mm,
that even the media, and the media, I shouldn't forget that the media must play an essential role in changing the mindset of people, their beliefs, and how they look at themselves as a people,
mm,
themselves as individuals, and the nation as a whole.
mm. The media is very powerful, especially
Absolutely.
in modern day with the improvement in technology, the media,
Absolutely.
So yeah, media
Yeah.
can help to shape the perception of citizens with regards to this religion and ethnicity.
And ethnicity. Yeah.
Yes,
The
yes.
media must play an essential role. It's an agenda setting role, and it's a developmental role. We must play that role.
Mm,
First, the media must cure itself of biases. The media must cure itself of ethnicity, because the media in Nigeria is polarized. That's my understanding and study of Nigerian media. If you work in the north, you want to think like a northerner. If you're in the west, you think like a westerner. If you're in the south, you think like a southerner. For heaven's sake, think Nigeria. Can we begin to think Nigeria? If the media thinks Nigeria, perception, analysis, reportage, interpretation must be national.
so no. Mm, 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 mm.